Good evening, everybody, and welcome to New Jersey Red, where we react off the news the blue doesn't want you to see. We got a great show for you tonight. We're going to have a couple of things going on. We're going to start out first with, why didn't nobody stand? That's the thing that makes you wonder sometimes. A little late. We're going to crash down a little bit before I sign off. But let's check it out right here real quick.
We can never forget that many in this room not only allowed the border invasion to happen before I got involved, but indeed they would do it all over again if they ever had the chance. If they ever got elected, they would open up those borders to some of the worst criminals anywhere in the world. The only thing standing between Americans,
everybody know them 3 years was out of control,
and a wide open border right now is President Donald J. Trump and our great Republican patriots in Congress. Thank you. Thank you.
And I know a lot of them will hate to say that, but definitely that's exactly what's going on right now.
As we speak, Democrats in this chamber have cut off all funding for the Department of Homeland Security. It's all cut off. It's all cut off. They have instituted another Democrat shutdown, the first one costing us 2 points on GDP. 2 points we lost on GDP, which probably made them quite happy, actually.
Why do all of them look like they're
now
tired?
Now they've closed the agency responsible for...
They try to stay up before they all fall asleep. How can you be in there at an important time and then get sleepy?
Protecting Americans from terrorists and murderers. Tonight I'm demanding the full and immediate restoration of all funding for the border security,
it looks like when the camera's on everybody, somebody warns them to like pay attention so you can wake up.
Clean up their snow. We have no money because of the Democrats.
Yeah, that's no problem. Terrible up there.
I'd love to give you a hand at
Next man,
it,
Dami.
but you gave no money. Nobody's getting
You need
paid.
2 forms of ID and Social Security to be able to shovel that snow up there in New York.
Snowstorm out there. One of the great things about the State of the Union is how it gives Americans a chance to see clearly what their representatives really believe.
You're probably kicking them behind the chair.
Tonight I'm
Wake up.
inviting
They're
every
looking at you.
legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens.
This is what kind of just rubbed everybody the wrong way after watching it. I've watched this so many times, and every time I see this, it's like nobody. Look at everybody. Nobody. Look. Nobody. Nobody. Come on now. How nobody gonna stand up? Nobody. Come on now. Make you think of Nancy right here. How nobody gonna stand up? Terrible. Look at the screenshot from the top. Nobody on that side over there. Over here. You can't even really get mad at them. Look at all these people just sitting down. Except for this lady right here. You don't even want to look up. Look like some of them over here knocked out. Look at this guy. Look like he's sleeping over there. Yeah. He don't even want to pick his head up. You remember this guy right here. The one that told them, told the people they should disobey a direct order. Matter of fact, I think I got him right here, guys. Let's flashback real fast.
Makers say threats to the Constitution aren't just coming from abroad.
No one has to carry out orders that violate
Remember when these people came up here and said all of that?
We know this is hard, and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
There he goes.
The CIA,
The Army,
Our Navy,
the Air Force.
your vigilance is critical.
Terrible.
That we have your back.
because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
Our Constitution and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Slotkin told the New York Times that she's heard from active duty troops who are concerned about the legality of strikes on
What
people
is
the
the
Trump
game
administration says are drug traffickers.
that they're playing out there? Say that don't stand up, and then they're not standing up, and like what is going on? Huh? How does it work? How does it work for the people out there so that they know what they need to do? Huh? Who gets a chance out there listening and following through on what they need to do? You can't do nothing. They don't even give you the chance to it's a shame, y'all. It definitely is. How they let's just finish with the State of the Union. Yeah. Look at his face. Look at that whole side. Everybody's sitting down. Who is this lady? She was smart enough to get up. Like, who was that lady? That's what, yeah, she looked back. Yeah. To see, cause she couldn't believe it herself. Like, what's going on? Like, what?
Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up. You should be ashamed of yourself.
And then you got Ilhan over there just talking crazy over there. I don't even want to find a clip of her right now because it's late. I don't want to wake everybody up. She doing the most, but let's just continue on something that would kind of give us the answer as to why they not standing up. I found this. Let's take a look.
When you think about racial equality,
And sometimes it make you wonder.
when you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party comes to mind? The Republicans or the Democrats? Most people would probably say the Democrats.
That's what I used to
But this
think.
answer is incorrect.
That's what I was trained and
Since its
learned in
founding
school.
in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every major civil rights initiative and has a long history of discrimination.
Didn't know
The
that, did
Democratic
you?
Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, perpetrated lynchings, and fought against the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s and 1960s.
And let me pause that right there for a minute. Let them tell it. The other side did all of this right here. If you remember the story with the stories that they tell us, that they never did none of that. And then here we go with the facts. Just being straightly presented. Now what?
In contrast, the Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. Its mission
As
was
a what?
to stop the spread of slavery into the new Western
Wow.
territories
I don't
with the
remember
aim
that.
of abolishing it entirely. This effort,
Oh, well, I
however,
do know it
was
now
dealt
because
a
I had to
major
study a
blow
lot
by
of
the
these things.
Supreme
That's why I got
Court
this channel
in
up,
the
because
1857 case,
a lot of
Dred
people
Scott
have been
versus Sanford.
bamboozled.
The court ruled that slaves aren't citizens, they're property. The 7 justices who voted in favor of slavery, all Democrats. The 2 justices who dissented, both Republicans. The slavery
What?
question was, of course, ultimately resolved by a bloody civil war. The commander-in-chief during that war was the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln,
Abraham
the man who
Lincoln.
freed the slaves. 6 days after
man
the
on the
Confederate
penny.
Army surrendered, John Wilkes Booth, a Democrat, assassinated
Yeah.
President Lincoln. Lincoln's vice president, a Democrat named
Makes you wonder now why they so quick and easy to do that. Didn't they try that already? And what happened? It didn't work out. That's why we haven't have who we have now as a president. They've been doing this for a long time.
Andrew Johnson assumed the presidency. But
Definitely.
Johnson adamantly opposed Lincoln's plan to integrate the newly freed slaves
Took all that he was
into the
planning
South's
and just
economic
threw
and
that out.
social order. Johnson and the Democratic Party were unified in their opposition to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment,
talk about
which
that.
gave blacks citizenship, and the
And these the
15th
same
Amendment,
amendments they
which
be
gave
throwing
blacks
all
the vote.
around,
All
acting
three
like
passed
they the
only
ones that
because of universal
provided
Republican
it for
support.
us.
During the era
But,
of
hold on, what
Reconstruction
happened?
of universal, which gave blacks the vote, all three passed only because of universal Republican support. During the era of Reconstruction, federal troops stationed in the South helped secure rights for the newly freed slaves. Hundreds of black men were elected to Southern state legislatures as Republicans, and 22 black Republicans served in the U.S. Congress by 1900.
Would you look at
The
that?
Democrats did not elect a black man to Congress until 1935.
Would you
But
look
after
at that?
Reconstruction ended, when the federal troops went home, Democrats roared back into power in the South. They quickly reestablished white supremacy across the region with measures like black codes, laws that restricted the ability of blacks to own property and run businesses, and they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests used to subvert black citizens' right to vote. And
Now hold on. Does that sound like the same thing Chuck was talking about that the people are trying to do? Does that sound like the same thing? Hold on, let's check. So it kind of makes you wonder. Again, let's just take this back a little bit.
by terror, much of it right to vote.
We're just gonna
and
go back a little
Blackstone
bit more.
With measures South, they quickly reestablished white supremacy across the region with
What?
measures like black codes, laws that restricted the ability of blacks to own property and run businesses.
No, they didn't. They didn't do that because that's not what the Democrats do. That is not what they have been saying that they do.
And they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests used to subvert black citizens' right to vote. And
What? Hold on. Hold on. Does that sound like that Jim Crow 2.0 Chuck was talking about? Let's check this out real fast. Let's just make sure that that's not it. Because this seems like they were the ones that were doing it first. Let's take a look.
What do you say to Mike Lee's argument
Good old
that,
Chuck.
the Senate rules allow the majority to require the minority to stage a talking filibuster to stop the
Look.
SAVE Act?
We've got to get this done, and we've got to get it done very quickly. The SAVE Act is an abomination. It's Jim
An
Crow
abomination to
2.0
who?
across the country. We are
Trying to get it so that
everything we
everybody
can
could be
stop
able
it.
to vote, even the
Yes.
people that aren't Americans. Y'all doing too much.
Said a moment ago about an OCR is off the table, but Thune just said he doesn't think that it's going to be enough time to secure the meaningful reform that he wants. How confident are you that you can achieve that by
If Leader Thune negotiates in good faith, we can get it done. We expect to present to the Republicans a very serious, detailed proposal very shortly.
I bet.
Yes.
Like they always do. That brings us back to, what did she say?
property and run businesses, and they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests used to subvert black citizens' right to vote.
That's why they know about that, because they started it.
And how is all of this enforced? By terror. Much of it
Oh, by terror. Some of the tactics that have been used in the last 4 years, right? Amongst other things, terrible. Seems like something that's out of a playbook constructed by
instigated by the Ku Klux Klan, founded by a Democrat, Nathan Bedford Forrest.
Not by a Democrat. Hold on.
As historian Eric Foner, himself a Democrat, notes, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson,
Wait.
a
Wait, did she said? Wait, let's hit a small rewind on that.
Democrat, interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, shared many views with the Klan. He resegregated many federal agencies and even screened the first movie ever played at the White House, the racist film, The Birth of a Nation.
By who? The Democrats? Did I just hear that right? By that beautiful lady? The movie aired at the White House by the Democratic president? Oh my gosh.
Originally entitled The Klansman. A few decades later, the only serious congressional opposition to the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 came from Democrats. 80% of Republicans in Congress supported the bill, less than 70% of Democrats did. Democratic senators filibustered the bill for 75 days until Republicans mustered the few extra votes needed to break the logjam. And when all of their efforts to
Still
enslave
sounds like
blacks,
the same thing
keep
that
them
goes on
enslaved,
now.
and then keep them from voting had failed, the Democrats came up with a new strategy. If black people are going to vote, they might as well vote for Democrats. As President...
Hold on now. Now, I think we heard that from somebody else also. Somebody else that was out there that said that. Let me just put a pause on that real quick and let's go back to something that we heard before.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community.
Hold up.
It don't have nothing to do with
a problem
Hold
figuring
up.
out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing.
Come on. All the different type of tactics that they use and stuff that they say, and you heard it right there from Joe's mouth. Terrible. Let's bring it right back to here.
If black people are going to vote, they might as well vote for Democrats. As President Lyndon Johnson was purported to have said about the Civil Rights Act,
Joe
I'll
Biden
have
said.
them voting Democrat for 200 years. So now, the Democratic Party prospers on the votes of the very people it has spent much of its history oppressing.
Enslaving.
Democrats falsely claim that the Republican Party is the villain, when in reality, it's the failed policies of the Democratic Party that have kept blacks down. Massive government welfare has decimated the black family. Opposition to school choice has kept them trapped in failing schools. Politically correct policing has left black neighborhoods
going on for a long
defenseless
time.
against violent crime. So when you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party should come to mind? I'm Carol Swain, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University for Prager
Definitely
University.
needed you. Thank you, Prager, for putting that out there. Now, for that, let me just leave you on something, because you know there's so many lies out there that you don't even know what's going on. But let's think about some things when we knew that Sleepy Joe was running a lot of stuff out there. Make you wanna say.
It's a diversionary tactic. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, it's a diversionary tactic. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic. It's a diversionary tactic. It's a self-fulfilling